Yep, that's me. I'm Daniel, and I'm a woodworker. A clumsy woodworker, but only sometimes. Rock stars, welcome to the shop. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to take this 1x6 and turn a big ass profit. Home decor right now is selling like crazy on the online platforms, so I want you to get in while the getting is good. This video is sponsored by nobody.
It's a long fly ball.
So meet me at the table saw. So I went to my local box store and purchased a couple 1x6x8s, and it's not the best wood, obviously. This is just select pine, which is a step above the regular pine. It's just more of the heart of the tree and no knots and stuff. But this pine actually has some cool looking figure in it, so I'm not too upset about it. So our shelf backer is going to be cut at 32 inches. So we'll take this to the miter box and get this cut down, and then we'll figure out how long we want our shelves to ultimately be. So meet me at the miter box. My mission in this video is to show you that you can take a simple piece of pine and create something that will turn a profit. Now let's head back to the table saw and lay out for our tapers on our shelf backer. So I want about a 15-degree taper. So pretty much what we're going to do is at the bottom of our shelf backer, we're going to pull over 3/4 of an inch on either side. And then we'll take our straight edge and come out flush at the top here and come over to our mark at the bottom and scribe this line. The cool thing about the project I'm making is you can use limited tools to get amazing results. And we'll take and do the same thing on our left side of the shelf. So we'll take this over to the bandsaw and cut these tapers. I'm using my bandsaw for this cut. However, you can use a jig on a table saw to get these tapers, or you could even use a circular saw. The option is up to you. Now we want to figure out our shelf layout. So we got 32 inches. So what I'm going to do at the top is pull down 4.5, and from the bottom I'll pull up 4.5. Now in between there, I'm going to wind up with 23 inches. So I'll mark 11.5. I'll be using my cutoffs from the tapers I cut at the bandsaw to make sure I can get these marks squared over. So you're probably asking yourself, Daniel, why didn't you cut your dados first? Well, that's a damn good question, and the answer to that question is I got a little anxious and should have done them first. But I didn't. However, I know that I put it on a 15-degree taper, so I'll just adjust my miter gauge when I go to cut my dados for that taper. That way I get nice square cuts. Not a big deal, just thought I would mention. We all skip steps sometimes. Cut your dados first. We're going to go ahead and swap out our blade for our dado stack. And whenever changing blades on any tool, or whenever working on any power tool, make sure it's unplugged. Better safe than sorry. If your saw isn't compatible with the dado stack, then you can just do this with that single blade. Make sure you get yourself a flat tooth blade. Now, before you go cutting into your shelf, we're going to make a practice cut just to make sure we have the dado stack width set correctly. So I'll just wind up taking a scrap piece of wood and doing our first cut on it. And that is going to be perfect. Now that we know our dado is set to the right width, we'll go ahead and get our depth set to 3/8 of an inch. To achieve that, I'm going to use some awesome setup blocks that I was gifted. We'll make sure that we got our layouts marked correctly. Just double checking. And we'll line up each of our marks with the center of this dado stack. And the geese want to say hello. Should we let them say hi? Let's let them say hello. Well, hello. Oh, what y'all doing? Oh, I got you. If you plan on using key slots to mount this shelf to the wall, be sure to do your key slot holes before cutting the taper. Alright, now that we've got our dados cut out, we're going to take and measure our shelves to see how long we want these shelves to be. So our longest shelf is going to be at 24 inches, and we'll cut our second shelf to 16 inches, and then our final shelf, we'll cut that one at 10 inches. Don't you hate how the big box stores will put these stickers on these pieces of wood? Ugh, so frustrating. This is the perfect project for beginners, and at the end of the video, I'll break down the cost and the profit for building this shelf, so be sure to stick around. So next thing we're going to do is cut our notches for our shelves to sit flush to the wall. So we'll mark center of each of our shelves, as well as mark the center of our dado at the bottom of each dado. And then we'll line up our center mark of our shelf with the center mark of the dado. We're going to take our marking knife, since it's a lot more accurate than a pen or pencil, and we'll scribe right up against our notch. Alright, our next step, we're going to take and cut out the notches for our shelves. And our depth for our dados is exactly where we need it to be, at 3/8 already. So all we need to do is take and line up our marks we made with our marking knife. And I'm going to darken these up so I can see it a little better. And we'll be cutting out each notch on each shelf. If you're a beginner and are intimidated by the dado stack, just take the single blade and do this cut with the blade. Just make sure it's a flat tooth blade and you'll get much better results. Now we'll do our test fit. Oh yeah, that's nice and snug. Beautiful. That is so cool. We're not done yet. We're going to spice this project up a bit, and we're going to add a chamfer to the bottom of each shelf and to the sides of our shelf backer. Meet me at the router table. I've got this 45-degree chamfer bit, and we'll be using this bit to get our chamfers on our shelf and the backer. And for our shelves, we're only going to be doing the sides and the front at the bottom of the shelf. It always blows me away how a simple detail like a simple chamfer can add to your project and take it to the next level with something so simple. Meet me back at the table saw. Our next step is we're going to take and sand everything down to 150 grit. So say you're new to woodworking, you're going to want to find a niche to dive right into, and home decor is one of the most lucrative. It's the perfect niche to get your feet wet. Now our next step is going to be to pre-drill our holes for mounting this to the wall. So I'll just mark center right here at the bottom, as well as marking the center up here at the top. And we'll go ahead and put one in the center as well, just for extra precaution. We're going to be pre-drilling first with an 1/8 inch bit. With home decor, you can use cheap materials or even reclaimed materials and turn a massive profit. I'm going to take our countersink and put a countersink on each one. So if you're looking to recoup some money for buying those tools, jump right into the rustic home decor items. It'll be worth it. Now we'll go ahead and take this over to our wall and show you how we mount it. So what you want to do first is find a stud. Once you establish where your stud is, just go ahead and get your screws started. I'll be sending these 3 screws along with the shelf when I ship it, with instructions for the client who purchases this shelf. It's a super easy application that anyone can figure out. Second screw, and our final screw. And you can level the bottom or the top with a little 1-foot level to make sure that it's level on your wall. Since it's at this taper, it'll be kind of hard to get a level on the side of it. Next, we'll just take our shelves and put them right where they go. I'm leaving these unglued so I can ship them a lot easier. And there you have your Viking shelf. The tight dados give it enough structure to be able to support a good amount of weight. If you're familiar with my channel, then you know that I build a fair amount of shelves. And I must say, this is probably my favorite shelf that I've built thus far. You can get this shelf built with one 1x6x8. Let's talk about that cost for material. So for the 1x8 and the hardware and shipping, I've got it all calculated at $22. I listed this online last week, and 5 days later, cha-ching, it sold. $185 for this shelf. That, my friends, is a big profit. This type of project is the perfect kind of woodworking if you're a beginner, novice, or even a master craftsman, and then you want to make a couple of bucks. These type of projects will get you where you need to be financially. Low cost, high profit. Now for my members who entered in their entries for the shelf contest, I'm currently working on that video and will be announcing the winner in that video. I promise I'll have it out soon. And speaking of members, if you want to help support the channel, I don't have a Patreon, but you can become a member of my YouTube channel. I'll leave a link in the description where you can join, and it'd be much appreciated. This is Bearded Viking Woodworks, and I am Daniel. Until next time, get in your shop and make some sawdust. Thanks, guys.